I thrifted a vintage circular knitting machine. It says for ages 6 and up, a new way to knit magic. Let's see if it works. Hey, it's by Mattel. Look at that. All right, this box is amazing. 1974 Mattel. What? And here are the instructions. So easy that even a 6-year-old can do it. 2 or 3 ply yarn. That's important to note since we use a lot of 4 here. But I'll go ahead and find some 2-3 ply yarn and test her out. Let's see if it works. Looks like it has some yarn in it already. Maybe that's from 1974. Who knows? Looks pretty old. I see an instruction manual. And here it is. It's bright yellow. And yep, there's the manual indeed. Knit Magic instructions. This is awesome. 1974. I love it. Let's check it out. Here it is. Looks like that's where you put the yarn. And here's the manual. Printed in the USA. I was reading the manual. Look at this. Have a wonderful time knitting. This is specifically for Barbies. You can make outfits for your Barbie doll. And it does say that it's been designed to use 3-ply yarn. 4-ply can be used with care. Okay. I think I'll try to find a 3-ply yarn though. The instructions say to move this lever from P to T. It does have a T on the end and P. It says Mattel on the inside right here. P, it kind of switches back and forth, so it's on T because lesson 1 is how to knit a tube. And it says before you start any project, do the 4 lessons. I went ahead and got the original yarn, wound it into a ball. So this is the original 1974 yarn from the Mattel kit. We're going to go ahead and do this now. Here's the instructions. It says to put the yarn till it hits the tabletop. Use that to count the turns as it comes around. And then drape the yarn under the hook under the first needle to the left of the wire guide. It's underneath it there. Then with your right hand, you're going to turn the crank away from you and drape it behind the horse. This is called casting on. And go underneath that hook there and keep turning. And as the needle pops up, you're going to put the yarn underneath it. This is called the cast on method. And once you get used to it, you can go pretty quick. But I do like to do the first one slowly just to make sure I'm catching it all. Okay, so now you're going to see we're going to end up on the back before the first one that we started with. So you've alternated front to back until all the needles are threaded. Next, you're going to loop the yarn through this metal piece here in the front. That's called the wire guide. And then raise our tension arm and slide a yarn into the top slot here. Here's a better picture. Now you can see it. All right, you got to lift the tension arm up and then you weave it through the arm. I'll show you what it's looking like. So it's like that now. Now that the tension arm is in place and you weaved your yarn through, you're ready to practice knitting a tube. Keep turning the crank away from you. Once you've made several complete rows, check for missed stitches. And a missed stitch will cause a hole to appear in the side of the knitted tube. If that stitch was missed, start over. I do have another video that shows you how to adjust that or to fix that missed stitch. But let's just stick to this tutorial for now. And it says to continue practicing this knitting until the tube is as big as you'd like it to be, or until we run out of yarn. We are coming to the end of the yarn. This is where we are going to stop. We want to leave a long enough length to cast off. I have about a foot left. Now I do have a different video on how to cast off properly since we are going to not keep this tube. This was simply a lesson on using this machine and making a tube. We're going to go ahead and simply remove the knitted tube by taking the yarn out of the wire guide and holding it loosely over the machine. and then cranking around until all the needles have released the yarn. And now the tube should be removed. Now if there's any remaining, we just have to use a needle to unhook it from the needles or from these little pieces here. Now the yarn is a little bit frayed, so it is stuck here. So I'm just going to lift it, and there we go. And this one here as well. And just take it off with our finger because it's split the yarn there. And there we have it. This is a 3-ply yarn again. And stretch the tube to make the stitches a little more firm. Or we can stretch it this way so you can kind of see how it looks. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is making a tube with our 1974 Mattel Knit Magic machine. Amazing! It works! Thanks for watching, subscribe, and like the video. Thanks!